the guys are feeling in anticipation for that game?
Yeah, we've had a good preseason. The weather's cooperated with us, so we've been able to scrimmage quite a bit. We've got a lot of new players. We got 24 new players, I think, when you look at our roster and the dynamics. So, yeah, we've got 14 games until we start WAC play. We're probably going to need every one of those to figure out, the pitching roles and the lineup construction and try to put some guys in position to be successful. So we're excited to get going, man. We got a good group of guys. They've done everything we've asked. A lot of good energy. I think we've got some good pieces to play with. So we'll always learn the first weekend. We get to play 4 games, open a weekend. We do that on purpose, just with the way our schedule unfolds. But so there's going to be a lot of learning opportunities this weekend. So, but we're ready to play someone else. I do know that. I think our guys are at that point right now.
And I mean, that goes into my next question. I mean, scrimmages are one thing, even inter-squads with other teams or something, but these games start to count. It goes towards your record. You just see kind of how your team reacts, especially with as many new kids on your team as possible. How important is that as a coaching staff to be able to see how they kind of react to that?
Yeah, I think you try to put them in scenarios throughout the fall, spring to, every young player's been in a ninth inning situation for us at this point, pitching-wise. Every offensive guy, we've probably hit them in a certain spot in the order. We've asked them to do certain things to kind of test where they are. So I think we know their skill set and what they're capable of doing. We pull a lot of data and use a lot of technology here, so there's some things that kind of come from that too. What we don't know is to your point, how they handle a loss or how they handle, starting the year 0-12 or 0-whatever from an offensive standpoint, or maybe not having their best outing, their first one here. So just understanding that, where we are this week, I do know that it'll be different the second week and the third week and the fourth week if we're doing our job as a staff. So that's what we'll continue to preach here is just player development and team development. And I would expect to see a lot of growth in this first month with so much new, I think, on our roster, which is exciting. The last couple of years has been a little bit different. We've had a lot of older bodies that you were just trying to manage some days.
And talking about that, that's a whole lot of new faces, new names. But that can be a good thing. They bring in a lot of energy, especially when they're young. How does that energy kind of rubbed off on some of the older players and then the staff in general?
Yeah, I think it goes both ways, right? I think we've got a good core group back from a leadership standpoint, has some experience to pull from. But we've also got a new guy, so it's like we talked about control and influencing last week. I think everybody influences the room in a certain way. I think the older you get, sometimes you want to be more controlling and maybe more dictate how the day plays out, but sometimes guys that show up with some energy influence things a little bit different. So I think our older guys have certainly felt that. Everyone comes from a different program and different experiences to pull from. So it's all been positive, I think, when you look at it that way. So we're excited. We're ready to kick off 2024 this week against Northern Illinois.
Perfect.
Hi. I have a couple things actually. So just to start off with, for me, preseason all-WAC team came out. Miller Levisaw got named on the team. So just tell me your thoughts on that honor and how he might be a big role player in veteran leadership this season.
Yeah, no, we're glad to have Miller back. He's impacted our program in a lot of different ways. He was a part of the 21 championship. Miller was actually our first commitment here when I got hired. So Miller and I. Coach Lambert, we all go back, I think, a long time now. So it's excited to see him go full circle. He's got his degree. He's coming back as a grad student. He started every day as a freshman, so he's got a ton of college at-bats to this point. I think our guys, he's got our guys' attention just because he's got some experience. So him being able to pull from that, he'll be right in the middle of our lineup in terms of trying to be a run producer, surround him with some other guys that are capable of helping that. I don't think he's got to be the guy that does what Grayson did last year. I don't know if we'll ever have another Grayson Tatro with 25 home runs, WAC Player of the Year, just the way he did it. But he's certainly capable of having a banner year and leading the way offensively. Not necessarily just on the field, but just the way he carries himself and so many other things off of it as guys look to guys that have been in those tight games and those wars, so to speak, over the course of the year. So we love Miller here. fired up that he chose to come back in a world now where a lot of guys don't sometimes. You know, he had some options just like other people did, but he chose to come back to ACU and finish his degree and hopefully help us get to a region for the first time in school history.